Self-improvement often reveals an expansive set of skills and possibilities to explore. The sheer number of paths can become extremely overwhelming. While the drive to be the very best at something may be admirable, it's actually unrealistic to strive for mastery in every field. Navigating the multitudes of options and possibilities can seem daunting. Enter the generalist versus the specialist argument. A specialist is someone who takes all of their experience and puts it into one skill set, hoping to maximize their return on using that skill set, which then would lead to disproportionate returns for the work that they put in that field. A generalist is someone who puts their time and effort into many things so that they have an expansive array of skills that they're proficient at. The phrase jack of all trades, master of none is actually a bastardization of the phrase jack of all trades, master of one, meaning that originally a generalist was someone expected to do well in many things with an exceptional performance in one of those things. This shift in perspective has allowed me to give myself permission to go all in on one skill at a time, knowing that I'm going to outperform in one area of my life than others just by default. At a certain point of your growth in any endeavor, you'll start seeing diminishing returns on the things that you're working on and growing in, meaning that 20% of your effort in the actual development of that skill will result in 80% of the results that you get from that skill. That remaining 20% that's left over will require sometimes 4 to 10 times as much effort, meaning you're going to see diminishing returns on those things. As a generalist, it's understanding that principle that you want to maximize how frequently you're gaining 80% of your growth in many different fields of work and in many different skill sets and specialties. While being the absolute best is a worthy goal to pursue if you want to become the best in that field, however, the odds of achieving that level are statistically extremely minimal. In fact, the chances of being the very best at anything is 1 out of 8 billion, meaning you're competing with the whole world. I think that I am definitely more in the realist camp than the blind optimism spectrum. It's important to understand the realities and the challenges of the path that we choose to pursue. Let's say you want to be the number one swimmer in the world. That would be Michael Phelps. Not only would you have to do next to nothing in your life aside from swimming in order to accomplish that level of achievement, you would have to do it more than Michael Phelps did. Michael Phelps won 23 Olympic gold medals. And in order to win that, he had to beat every other single person in the entire world 23 times. They say if you want to get the results that someone gets, you should do the things that they did. Except in this case, you would also have to have the same kind of advantages that he had. So Michael Phelps was 6'4", but his wingspan was that of a person who's 6'7". And the average shoe size for someone of Michael Phelps' height was a size 12, and he had a size 14, meaning he had 10% more foot to kick the water with, meaning he had 10% advantage over his competition. He had larger than average hands, meaning he could displace more water with them. He was double jointed in his chest area, meaning he could actually reach further on his strokes and pull down at an angle that increased his efficiency by up to 20%. Not only that, but he had disproportionately shorter legs, meaning he had less drag in the water. Because of his large torso, he had a much greater lung capacity than the average person, meaning he could swim further underwater. And he had another genetic advantage where his muscles produced 50% less lactic acid than the average person. So let's say you overcome the genetic hurdles and you become Poseidon and you want to take on the GOAT. Not only would you have to have all of those things in place, you would also have to outtrain him. Phelps swam for 6 hours every single day, including weekends, holidays, and birthdays, never missing a single day, meaning he was swimming 50 miles a week. He also did functional weight training 3 times per week, including body weight exercises. He took ice baths, stretching, getting massages, and made sure that he got deliberately good sleep every night. He ate a 12,000 calorie diet and took no days off, no weekends. You would have to have all of that, overcome all of his genetic advantages, and then do more than he did. Meaning you would have to have more drive, more discipline, more stamina, more mental fortitude. So how does this relate to business? Michael Phelps' net worth is estimated to be $100 million, which is a lot, meaning that he made sacrifices every single day of his life to get to where he was. That's nothing to look down on at all. This is the path of the number one person to be the best swimmer in the entire world. And this is what the summit of that mountain looks like. So you're asking yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? I'm not saying that it isn't to be number one, but here's the kicker. What does second place look like? Ryan Lochte, who's considered the second best swimmer of all time, went from making over $1 million per year through his sponsorships down to making $75,000 from one single sponsor. His net worth is estimated to be $300,000. Not $3 million, $300,000. There is such a glamorization of the grind the Sigma grind set or alpha mindset. But how many athletes were there that got injured, who made other mistakes, or allowed life to get in their way? The cost of every other swimmer not being number one is $99,700,000 proportionately. Enter the generalist. According to Inc.com, the average U.S. entrepreneur is worth $4 million. That means if you perform less than a second slower than Michael Phelps, you would be worth less than 1/10 of an average entrepreneur as a swimmer. That also means the chances of an entrepreneur having a net worth above $300,000 is astronomically higher. Someone who can be above average at multiple things has a much greater likelihood of being financially secure. So let me share an example. In the United States, the average income of a graphic designer is $57,000 the whole way up to about $90,000 per year. The average income of a salesperson is $70,000 per year. The average income of a web designer is around $60,000 per year. The average income of a marketer is $67,000 per year. And the average income of a customer service rep is $38,000 per year. Now, as a joke, let's say you were hired to do all of these jobs simultaneously. You would have to work for 200 hours a week, exceeding the amount of hours in a week by 32. So you'd have to work twice as many weekends as they do. And your collective income would be $292,000, which is obviously impossible. However, as a generalist, let's say you have the skills associated with all of those different careers. And then you learn how to acquire your own web design clients, how to market to them and sell to them, and then how to manage those clients. Not only would you make more money, but you would also have more time. So the range of a professional one-page website for a build-out would be between $2,000 and $5,000. Now this is for one page, it's not a full build-out. So you learn some marketing skills in order to acquire leads. You learn some sales skills in order to close those leads and get them bought into the process. You learn basic graphic design in order to get them a logo and to put their website together. You can use a no-code web tool in order to design those websites either off of a template or from scratch if you want to. And then you learn to use your customer service skills to proactively handle their complaints and make sure that they're happy customers. From there, you would collect testimonials of your happy customers and then use those to acquire more customers. It's realistic that as a one-person agency, once you're able to charge premium prices, meaning you have good products to show off from those testimonials, for you to be doing about 2 websites a week, which would be $10,000 in revenue per week, or $40,000 a month, or $520,000 in revenue a year. So as one person working 40 hours per week, as you get more proficient at these skills, you would even be able to cut back on the time it takes you to build out each website. If you grow in the skill set of time management on top of those other skills, you could be doing this as a part-time worker. That's $500,000 per year off of everyday, boring, salaried jobs skills. The only difference is that you are not specializing in one of them. You are being a generalist across the board in all of them. You would be making more than 6 times the amount of the second best swimmer in the world. Before you go climbing a mountain, it's important to understand what the summit looks like and how many people can fit up there. If you're looking to be successful in the 4 eternal markets, which are health, wealth, happiness, and relationships, you want to make sure that whatever mountain you decide to start climbing as a generalist actually gets you to the success in all 4 of those markets internally. In fact, you don't even have to be a top 1% business owner in order to be a 9 out of 10 in all 4 of those. So as a tactician, meaning somebody who's looking for an efficient way to solve a multifaceted problem, I know a few things. One is that every single person who has a ton of money but doesn't have their health only wants one thing, and it's to be healthy. And number 2, money doesn't buy happiness, but it does solve a lot of the problems that are hindrances to your happiness. That means that you should absolutely, under no circumstances, compromise your health for money. Secondly, it means that the 3 other eternal markets, meaning health, happiness, and relationships, can be amplified by using wealth effectively. So let's say you understand all of this and you're on board, but you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, what do I do now? I only have one skill, and it is X. Now it's time to look at your interests and where that intersects with your skills, and then find ways to tactically choose what skills to pursue next. Let's say for argument you start as a customer service rep. You're good at taking phone calls and de-escalating angry customers. This is a baby skill that is the foundation for customer success. Customer success will help you maintain customers and increase their lifetime value. So you know how to keep customers. The next logical step would be to know how to get customers. So that would be sales. Or you could create a product or service that you know you can do the delivery for. So let's say you like cars or working on cars. You have the beginning of where your skill set will intersect with your interests, which is that you like cars and you can help people through basic complaints. It's important to choose something in your interests because it will be easier for you to stick with long term. The next thing is to find an offer, meaning you need to have some sort of value proposition where you can help someone transform from where they are or who they are into where they want to go or to become who they want to be. You'll learn to package it in an appealing way, which is the basics of marketing. And then you're going to take that offer and put it in front of as many people as possible so that you can begin to add value to their lives. And in this case, that could literally be fixing up their cars. It could be detailing their cars. It could be cleaning, adding parts to soup up your car engine, or whatever route that you actually care about and want to go in that direction. You say, well, I don't have any money. I don't know how to do those things. This is actually the beginning of a limiting belief, meaning something that's preventing you from moving forwards is 100% in your head. Rather than saying this is an impossibility, you need to approach it as a problem for you to solve. Why? Because the solution is worth $500,000 a year. You can either find free information, which is literally everywhere. You can go on YouTube, Google, you could go on X, you can go on LinkedIn, you can just ask people to point you to an expert who can help you. You can even use ChatGPT or these other AI programs that will just draw information and put them in one localized place for you. Or you can begin investing in yourself, which is good for your soul because when you're invested financially, you'll also be invested mentally. If you don't think you can buy a book for $20, I can't help you. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. Or you can skip all of that and pay nothing and rather apply for jobs where you can learn those skills to move forwards. Now, this is important. You need to sign up for the job with the intention of doing well there, but knowing in the back of your mind, it is not a career. You're approaching this as if you're taking a class at university. The point of getting the job is to learn that skill. You do not want to fall into the trap of getting in a rut where you're relying on that for your income forever because you'll begin to resent it. You absolutely do not have to love the position, and in fact, it's likely that you won't because it will be outside of your comfort zone. This is telling because it means that you will grow from taking that position, so do it. This is why it's important to have the right mindset going in, telling yourself this is for me to learn so that I can run my business. In the words of King Solomon, this too shall pass. So now that you've gone from your $30,000 per year cushy customer service rep job to a challenging, stressful, new experience selling widgets for anywhere from $0 to $100,000 per year, if you approach this as a skill to learn, you will learn it. This is not a job. This is your teacher, and you are the student. In fact, the word discipline comes from the word disciple, which means student. So your goal is to become a student of the career. If you're going into sales, work on improving your key performance indicators. So whether that's the total volume of phone calls or door knocks you're doing, or tracking your close ratio. Work on your tonality, on your mindset. Find whoever's most successful in your company and then just mimic what they do because that's what gets them the results, is their actions. At some point, you will begin to see diminishing returns. For example, if you started with a 10% close ratio, meaning you talk to 10 people and one of them buy, and you've worked over 6 months, and now every time you talk to 10 people, 3 of them buy, you want to compare that number. So it took you 6 months to grow 20%, which is 3 times better than when you started, but it's 20% overall. Look at the top salesperson. If they're doing 40%, that means that the delta between 40 and 30 would be a 10% increase. It will take you 4 to 10 times as much effort to gain that 10%. This is the line where you can choose to become a specialist and go to get that 10% more. Or you can, as a generalist, say, I've got the skill enough that I can move on to the next thing, because this is where you're getting diminishing returns. So now you have customer service and you have sales. You can acquire and make customers happy. The next part is taking what you love and packaging it into an offer so that you can take it to market. At the beginning, I recommend having a subscription service, meaning that you'll have a repeat touch with the customer so that you can over-deliver on your product or service and you begin to build monthly recurring revenue. At some point, you'll come to a sweet spot where there's too many customers for you to handle, and that's where you want to slow down on customer acquisition because you want to make sure that you're getting high-quality testimonials. So we don't want to give ourselves another job where we're working 100 hours a week. We want to make sure that we're getting more money for the same amount of time. To get more money, you need more trust. And the number one way to get more trust is to have testimonials. So treat those first customers like they're absolutely golden, and then ask them to have a video interview with you for 20 minutes where you can just ask them about their experience with you and document that and then put it on your website, which then creates more trust, and then you can charge higher prices for what you're doing. Now, as soon as you have enough customers to replace your current job income, you need to maintain that for at least 3 months before leaving your job. The reason we wait 3 months is because there's ebbs and flows in business, and you want to make sure that this isn't like your one-off peak month where you had a whole bunch of wins, so that you're not stressed when you have your money go up and down as you're trying to maintain relationships with customers. The kiss of death for your business will be when you need to close deals to make money rather than to learn and grow and serve more people and do better in the market. This makes sure functionally that you're operating from a place of abundance and you don't have any desperation in the service or in the sales calls. At this point, you've established a base level of income, you're out in the market, you fired your boss, but you haven't really. In fact, you've actually inherited 10 to 20 bosses. But you're on your way, and you are finally the one in control of your destiny. Don't deceive yourself into thinking that you've made it or that you're done. This is the starting line. This is when business starts to get interesting and you start getting outsized returns for your effort. Once your routine has been regulated, as a generalist, you need to continue to learn more skills that will advance your business and get you compounding returns on your effort. As soon as you have extra time, rather than getting more clients, it's time to learn new skills. That could be management, delegation. It could be how to market online. It could be Facebook ads. It could be how to do cold email marketing or how to build content on the internet. With all of these additional skills, you can invest time or money or both of those things into learning. If you look at online courses as what they are, a lot of times people will get really hung up on the fact that they want to just take one course and then apply what that says and then make $100,000 a year or $200,000 a year. And this is where you fall prey to either marketing issues or over promises and under delivery. But you have to understand that this is the same as if you were getting a PhD. You don't take one biology class and then you're a doctor. In fact, you have to learn many, many, many different things from many different courses in order to be a well-rounded physician to then actually serve and help your customers, which then are clients or patients as a doctor, which then that's where you're able to charge a ton of money as a doctor, is because you're bringing a ton of value from all of the different places that you've learned information. Using the same analogy, you can't get a degree in business by just taking one class. You want to mentally go in knowing that this is just one piece of the puzzle and that you're most likely going to have to take many courses in order to see breakthroughs, but it gives you the ability to pivot and do more in the market. Meaning that if one day you decide that you don't like cars anymore and you don't want to fix them up and you don't want to work on them the same way, you can take that same core set of generalist skills and just apply it to a different product or service. Now, when you buy a course or a book, or you go to a seminar, or you go to a live workshop, this experience and the knowledge only matters if you begin to implement it and apply it in your day-to-day. If you're just learning to learn, it's the same as mental masturbation. It's a waste of time and doesn't result in the birth of anything. If you got any value from this and you want to learn more, like, comment, subscribe, all those things that I'm supposed to say to you, and share it with someone who you believe it would help. All right, later.